Good morning, dear students. Welcome back again with a new session of Science 2. We already started with heredity and evolution, in which we already discussed about how evolution takes place and how the changes take place and how the proteins are formed inside the cell. Now, today we are going to see what is evolution and what are the evidences of evolution. Now, evolution is a very slow process. It is a gradual change occurring in the living organism over a long period of duration. That is, we call it definition. It's a very slow and tedious process. The changes will not happen in just one day or 1 year or 2 years. It may take thousands and lakhs of years. This is a very slow going process through which development organism is achieved. Then formation of new species due to changes in specific characters of several generations of living thing as a response to natural selection is called as evolution. So it is a nature who decides that which characters, with the help of which characteristics the organism is going to survive, and therefore it is said that it is nature is selecting. The theory is based on selection of nature. That life has not been extant on the earth life has not been existent on the earth 3.5 million years ago. Before that, it was not possible. It is only after 3.5 million years ago, after the formation of the earth, that life came into existence. At the beginning, there has been many simple elements in oceans on the earth, so like nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen. So many simple elements were formed on the surface of the earth. Later on, due to some chemical process, organic compounds get converted into inorganic, and life came into existence. Simple type of organic and inorganic compounds have been formed from the simple elements. For a long period, complex compounds like proteins and nucleic acid may have been formed. The first primitive type of cells may have been formed from mixture of different types of organic and inorganic compounds. Now, this is you can say, intermediate part of the evolution. Further, what other changes has taken place in the process of evolution? Cells might have shown differences amongst each other. Eukaryote cells and prokaryote cells, with the nucleus and without the nucleus, that is already we have discussed. Some may have shown good growth and some may have perished. Now, as per the nature has selected, some organisms they grow properly, whereas some other organisms which does not adjust into the changing environment, they perished, swaha, khatam ho gaya. Animal diversity. It ranges from unicellular, that is amoeba and paramecium, to a giant whale and human being. So the range of or diversity of animal is from unicellular microorganisms to multicellular human beings and whale fish, a giant fish called as whale. That is a diversity in animal. Same way there is diversity in plants. It ranges from unicellular chlorella to huge banyan tree. You can imagine a huge banyan tree. Many are taking shelter under it, and very small plants which we cannot see with the naked eyes. That is chlorella. So that is how it ranges from very small to very big. That is called plant diversity. Different theories about origin and evolution. Different theory of about origin and evolution has been said. Many of them said their own theory, but very few are being accepted. Among them, which is accepted by almost everyone, is theory of evolution. What is that? Different theories about origin and evolution has been proposed till today, of which theory of gradual development of living organisms are accepted. Now, what is theory of evolution? According to this theory, the first living material has been formed in ocean. So there the first life has been formed. That is according to theory of evolution. Now there it was in the form of unicellular. Then unicellular got converted into multicellular. But as it converted from unicellular to multicellular, there was a long duration of time, as well as the process was very, very, very slow. See the flow chart. You can say unicellular to multicellular, from multicellular to larger and more complex organisms. And what is the duration taking place? It took near about 300 years ago to do these changes from unicellular to multicellular. Hence, the overall process is called as evolution, which is organizational. Then, progressive development of plants and animals from ancestors having different structural and functional organization is called as evolution. So, in a proper and sequential way, the process of growth is taking place, which we call it as evolution. So, but then, how? What about the formation of other organisms? And what is the we can call it as what are the origin of these organisms? And certain theories have been said about the origin of the organisms. Now, what are those evidences which is proposing this theory? So we'll discuss about those evidences. So among them, the first theory or first evidence is morphological evidence. Various similarities like structure of mouth, position of eyes, structure of nostrils, and ear pinna are seen in the animals. If you could see many of the animals like goat, cow, buffalo, you can see the structure of the nostrils and the structure hairs on the surface, the ear pinna. All these are showing similarities. This all indicates that they have been originated from the common origin. They are, you can say indirectly, you can say they are relatives of each other. So this is on the basis of external appearance, which we call it as morphological evidence. So here morphology is nothing but a branch of science which deals with the external parts of the body. So this morphological evidence has proved that there is some relationship between these organisms, so which indicate that common ancestries. Not only in animals but also in plants. If you have seen the plants, leaves of the other plants like mango, banyan, you can see the leaves, structure of the leaves, the petioles. You could see that there are many similarities among the leaves also in the plants, among the plants. Characters like leaf shape, leaf venation, and leaf petiole, etc., occur in case of plants. This indicates that arrangement must be same and must have common ancestors. Now, next is anatomical evidence. Like morphology deals with the external parts of the body, same way anatomical evidence is nothing but the study of internal parts of the body. By seeing the internal parts of the body, we can give certain evidences about the common ancestry. So here in this, though picture is there in your textbook, you can refer to the picture and just see here. The picture is clear, gives clear indication that the structure of the bones of certain animals are being shown. Though the structure appears to be different from each other as per the function, but the similarity in them is the joints of the bones, which are similar in all the other animals. This joint, this different types of joints or similarity in the joints gives indication that all these animals have common ancestries. There is similarity in the structure of bones and bone joints in organs of each of the human, like each of human, cat, bat, and whale. This similarity indicates that these animals have common ancestors. Now, another evidence, that is vestigial organs. Now, what is vestigial? There are certain organs which, due to you can say not continuous uses of certain parts of the organisms, we are not using it, or it is not brought in use, and therefore slowly those part of the organisms slowly get disappeared. Like for example, monkey. Now it is said that human beings are the ancestors, or monkey is the ancestor of human being, but where is the tail? So slowly that tail has been disappeared. Why it has disappeared? Because in the earlier days, when the animals trees started being cutting off, the these animals started moving from arboreal, that is from the plants they came to the land. So when they came to the land, at that time they did not require to balance the body, and therefore what happened, slowly because the tail is not being used, slowly the tail started disappearing. Its evidence is what? Last bone, coccyx, which is there, which is a tailbone. This gives clear indication that these animals are our ancestors. Likewise, many other evidences is there. So, such organs which are not in use for us, not functional now, but may be functional for other organisms. Such an organisms we call it as vestigial. For example, wisdom tooth. Though it comes out after the age of say 25-26 years, but it is of no more use to us. It is not particularly brought in use to us, but still it is growing. It is there existent. Similarly, appendix. In earlier days, we used to eat raw food. In order to digest it or to propagate it move ahead, we require appendix. But now, as and when fire was invented and we started eating cooked food, at that time this type of food was not required, and as a result of which what happened, the use of appendix was slowly decreasing. At last, at today's age, human being does not require appendix. So now appendix is no more used to us, but then it does not mean it is not useful. It is useful for other organisms. Degenerated or underdeveloped or useless organs are called as vestigial organs. Various vestigial organs like tailbone, coccyx, wisdom teeth, body are present in human beings. Now, paleontological evidence. Remnants and impressions of organisms remains preserved underground. Now, these are called as fossils. The time passed since the depth of the plants and animals can be calculated by the means of carbon dating method. Now, in earlier days, human beings and plants and animals were being dead because of natural calamities, but they were being preserved under the earth crust. And today we can find out the ages with the help of one of the technique called as carbon dating, in which carbon C12 is required and the C14. C14 is nothing but radioactive element carbon is required. So we can take down the ratio of C14 to C12 and we can compare it with the C12, and with the help of which we can find out the ratio, and this will help us to find out the age of each and every organism on the surface of the earth. This is called as carbon dating. Since the death of plants and animals can be calculated by measuring the radioactive C14 and the ratio of C14 to C12 present in the body, this is called as carbon dating. Another evidence, embryological evidence. Everyone knows that each and every organism is born or brought up inside the embryo. First place of birth inside the womb of the mother, that is embryo. So all other organisms grow inside the embryo. The initial development takes place inside that. Now how that development takes place and how that changes has taken place in all other organisms at different stages, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. So with the help of the picture given in a textbook, you can compare it and you could understand that there are many similarities among the animals, and this similarities gives clear indication that all these animals have common ancestors or origin. Embryological evidences compared to study of embryonic development stages of various vertebrates show that all embryos show similarity during the initial stages, and those similarity decrease gradually. Connecting links. Now there are certain organisms which shows the characteristics of two different groups. These organisms is called as a link between the two groups. So this type of organisms we call it as connecting link. For example, here certain organisms are being mentioned which shows the characteristics of two different groups. Like for example, peripatus. They show the characters of segmented. They show the characters like segmented body and thin cuticle. Parapodia like organs. This characteristics is found in annelids, but it also has the characteristics like respiration and open circulatory system. This is the characteristics of arthropods. Annelids and arthropods, two different groups. these characteristics are seen in only one organism. So these organisms act as a connecting link between the two different groups. Same way, there is one more organism. Same way, likewise, two more organisms are being given here. That is, one is Peripatus, and the other one is duckbill platypus. That's all for today. Have a great day.